you're not getting the full power out of Claude Code. Not because you're not smart, but because you're using it like a chatbot. Every time you close a session, you lose momentum, context, flow, all that setup you've done is gone. And eventually you start adapting to Claude, instead of Claude adapting to you, which is a bit backwards. There's a way to fix that. It's called plugins. And most people don't even know this exists. If you can copy a file, follow a template, you can do this yourself. And once you've set it up, it works everywhere. After this, you won't use Claude Code the same again, I promise you that. Out of the box, Claude Code is a lot like VS Code before you install anything. It works, but it's mid. VS Code became the editor everyone loves because of extensions. ESLint, Git Lens, language servers, and a theme so it doesn't look so crusty. Each one made it slightly better. And when you stack enough of them, it's a completely different tool from when you first install it. Claude Code is the exact same. And most people don't know this. Right now, it's just a chat interface. But there's a layer underneath the surface that most people haven't even touched, and they're called plugins. And you're about to build your first one right now. And not some crappy hello world thing. Let's do something that actually creates something for us. First, we gotta make a folder. Every plugin lives in its own directory. That's it, that's the first basic requirement. Now, every plugin needs a recipe card, a file that tells Claude Code what this thing is. Inside your plugin folder, create a .claude plugin folder with a plugin.json inside. Here's the basic template. So let's fill out these details. We'll give the plugin a name. Now, I'm thinking for this plugin, let's make a plugin that makes plugins. So next time we want to make a plugin, we don't have to do all these steps again. So let's call it plugin creator. Quick description, give it a version, and then I'll put my name inside here. If you're used to using JavaScript and NPM, you'll be familiar with this with a package.json. Now, let's give it something to do. Let's build a skill inside of our plugin. Inside your plugin folder, make a skills folder. That's where all our skills are gonna live. And inside that, make a new folder and call it setup. That's gonna be the name of the skill. And then inside that folder, we're gonna create a skill.md. This is where we give Claude instructions on what the skill actually is. So in this file, we'll just add some front matter. This helps with indexing, which we'll see later on. And we'll give it a name and a description. And below here is where we give it our instructions. So what I'm gonna do is teach Claude how to make this directory structure for a plugin, because I don't wanna have to do this again next time. And that's the entire skill. Just a markdown file with instructions. Now we reboot Claude with our plugin directory, and watch this. We run the command and it automatically sets up the file structure for us. Pretty cool, right? And we didn't even have to write any code. And so if you're following along, you've just built your first plugin. A real tool inside of Claude Code that you created, not installed, you created this, remember that. It's really cool. But that's one skill in one plugin. What happens when you start stacking these? Sorry, quick segue. If you're following along, leave a comment. I'm really curious to see what you're gonna build. What's your first plugin gonna be? Let me know. One plugin is useful, but it only lives on your machine right now. And you've gotta load it with this stupid plugin every time. That's fine for testing, but it's not very convenient and it's not really an autonomous system yet. So let's stack more into our plugin and then we'll give it a proper home. So first let's create an agent. And for us, I think for this plugin creator thing we've got going, I think it would be useful if we had a colleague that would look up the instructions from Claude on how to make plugins and make sure our directory structure is compliant. So let's make that agent. The first thing we do is do /agents, create new agent. It's going to ask us for the location, put it into this project, and then we're going to select generate with Claude. Let's put that description in. Okay, so now we've created our agent, but it's not in the right place. And so all we need to do is copy that file into the agent subfolder within the plugin. Cool, so now that we've copied the agent to the right spot, whenever we install this plugin, the agent will be automatically included for us. Okay, now let's see what the agent thinks of our plugin structure, just to test it. So the agent's gone off, researched how to do plugins, and given us some recommendations. We're going to ignore them for now, but feel free to fix them if you're following along. Next, let's add a hook. Our hooks fire automatically whenever Claude does something. And I'm kind of sick of this guy. Whenever he edits our plugins, he uses 4 indenting on the JSON instead of 2. So let's add this to our hooks. And this will automatically format the JSON whenever Claude's finished editing the file. Now our plugin has an agent, a skill, and a hook. And now it's time to give it a home. First, we create a new GitHub repo. This is our marketplace. Every plugin you build lives here. Next, we'll create the same .claude plugin folder, but this time we create a marketplace.json. Same thing, give it a name, owner, and this time we give it a list of plugins pointing to where they live in the repo. Every new plugin you build gets added to this list. Now, let's move our plugin into the plugins folder in the marketplace. Now that we've got our marketplace set up, we can install it. So the first thing you do is go into Claude and type /plugin, and then head over to the marketplaces. Here you can click add marketplace, and then we're going to give it the path. And because this thing's only local right now, we're just going to do ./, and that's the current directory because we're in the marketplace directory. So now that we've added the marketplace, it'll show us the list of plugins we have. And I called this one My First Plugin, which is our plugin creator plugin. So we'll just hit enter on that. And then it's going to ask this. We'll just install it the user scope, which means it's available in every project. And that's it. Now when we restart Claude, we'll be able to see our hook, our skill, and our agent. So if we do /create plugin, there's our skill. We do agents, we can see our plugin creator compliance checker agent. And if we go to /hooks, jump down to the post tool use and check the write/edit, we can see there's our automatically formatting the JSON hook. And all these are now available every time we start Claude. So if I go back and say if we go back to a different directory and I start Claude, no plugin dir command needed. Then we check plugins. We can see that we've got our plugin creator plugin installed and it comes from My First Marketplace. Now, every time you solve a problem, you're solving it once. You package it up, you drop it in your marketplace, and you never have to solve it again. Every new project starts with everything you've built in the past. But here's the thing. Right now, only you can use this. It's local. If you wanted to share it with your team or anyone, that's one step away. And it's actually the easiest step. This is how easy it is. Git add dot, git commit -m, first marketplace, and git push. And that's it. Your marketplace is live. Now I know you're probably thinking, Daniel, pushing a GitHub repo is not that impressive. I know, but it's the implications of pushing the repo that are interesting. I'll show you. Look, anyone with Claude Code can now run /plugin, then marketplace add, and then your username and your repo and install any plugin from it. Now you've gone from, I wish Claude would remember my setup to I'm sharing my setup with anyone. And you did all that just in one video. Pretty good. The best thing is you're not the only one doing this. There's a whole official marketplace built into Claude Code. Browse it with /plugin. You can search, there's code intelligence, GitHub integrations, workflow tools. Anything you can think of is probably in this marketplace. And you can submit your own plugins too. But there's one more thing I've been hiding from you this whole time. And it's probably the coolest part. Quick, look. If we go to this website, SkillsMP, and search for your marketplace, there it is. You see it, your own marketplace. On a real site, your name, your plugins, findable and installable by anyone. You haven't just followed a tutorial. You've built a plugin, stacked it with all these tools, packaged it into a marketplace, published it, and now it's on this site, something real that real people can use. You're no longer someone who uses Claude Code like a chatbot. You're someone who extends it. And I think that's pretty awesome. So here's my challenge. Build one plugin this week, push it to your marketplace, and then drop the link in the comments. I want to see what you build. I'm looking for some cool skills, some cool hooks, some cool agents. Now, Claude Code is awesome, but he kind of sucks at preventing cross-site request forgery. So I think it's better if you learn that and how to fix it over here.